Hi there. Welcome to the first edition of Zappychats, an exclusive HR podcast. I am Ranjit, your host for the show. I'm very excited to introduce our guest today. He's a veteran with 18 plus years of experience in the field of HR. He has worked with multinational corporations, public sector undertakings, and consulting organizations. Currently, he's the HR director at Lubrizol Corporation for its South Asia and Middle East region. An alumnus of XLR Jamshedpur, a mechanical engineer by graduation, a speaker at various national and international stages, a continuous learner, and many more. His introduction extends much more. So I'm very excited and happy to introduce you, Sumit Neogi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you. And it's great to connect back with colleagues with whom I have spent some of the brilliant years in Cipla. So thank you for having me live with you on this chat platform.
So Smith, as a veteran, as a person who has seen many transformations, as a person who has seen the way HR has transformed, the way we hire and manage talent has changed drastically the last couple of decades. Do you think the way HR works also should change?
So first up, I'm glad to hear that having less than 2 decades of experience can also make you a veteran. Uh, but yeah, I've seen transformation. I've seen transformation in Indian organizations. I've seen transformation in multinational organization, both as a consultant as an individual who has been part of it. Uh, the way we source talent has undergone significant change. The reason can be many. First reason would have been to, how can we digitize the basic processes? Because it used to require a lot of paperwork, right? I go back to my first job in the year when I was applying for it in the year 2000. Uh, we were given some 50 pages to fill up, right? To the last job which I applied to, my current role, uh, still very tedious, but a lot of information was pre-filled with my LinkedIn details, right? I had to just go edit and submit it. So that's a big shift that has happened. Another big shift has happened courtesy COVID. A lot of line managers who used to believe that until and unless they have spoken or met a person in person, they cannot make a decision to hire. That has been thrown out of the window, right? Today, a digital conversation, getting online, using either a Zoom or a Microsoft uh, Teams or any platform which helps individual to take video interviews. People are taking interviews. Behavioral event interviews are taking place, and even we are onboarding candidates, digitally these days, right? I have recently closed some close to 6 positions in my team. I met most of them 3 months after they're joining the organization. So that's how it was. The big shift that has happened, and that leads to the fact how HR can improve. What are the shifts I'm looking at? The shift is going to be completely digital in nature, right? Whichever process can use data, whichever can process can use analytics, whichever process can actually digitize their transactional processes should be done, must be done. That will bring in a lot of HR effectiveness as we move forward. One thing that will remain the key, HR would continue to be the punching bag. The question is, how can you convert yourself from being a punching bag to a true partner? Would be the question. Business will require talent. The future of business will require different skills. The future of business will continue to require either onboarding the right talent or developing the talent, and that's where the HR will play a key role. Rather than being subservient, waiting for an order, waiting for an input to come in. Why can't an HR take the step and say, look, we have analyzed our people data, we have analyzed the market, this is what our business strategy looks like, and if these are the aspects, this is what our HR strategy should be, and these are the initiatives we will take during the year. which are going to make on ground impact. Bounce it off your line managers. Trust me, you will gain a lot of credibility as HR function. So I do see things going to change. As far as HR is concerned, it is pretty much the same for all the functions from that aspect.
So this is again a question on the recent digitalization. Uh, Data analytics, data mining, information technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning. These have become buzzwords in the field of HR. So how do you see these trends in HR?
I did talk about utilizing technology to make our processes more efficient. I do see use of this going forward as well. Right? How quickly one would adopt is a function of how quick, what are the usage broadly of these technologies while coming in. If I do see a lot of use in talent acquisition, right? There is a bit of that is already being used. From we have actually moved away from the world of resume parsing to keyword search to advanced searches. Today, AI is helping us identify the dormant candidates, right, whom we can then target. Um it is being used as a as a chat bot in our transactional processes. Uh, Machine learning as an area would be definitely, I do see its use in talent development very clearly. Uh, you know, Talent management and talent development and also career development. These are very critical areas, and these are very specific to an individual. You cannot have a simple program which will run and which will help people. So one is obviously having the process digitized. Second is to aid individual how they will build their career. For example, do we have sufficient data today which will tell any individual what should they do to go from position A to position B to position C, right? In terms of hierarchy, career, intelligent career paths. And that's where a machine learning is going to help us in near future. I do see its use very effectively. Organizations who will do, who will be able to use technology better will grow, no doubt about it. Will help their employees grow. There is obviously a tremendous fear factor, I must also admit, within a lot of leadership or within a lot of colleagues in HR, that if technology takes over HR, what will happen, etc., etc. I don't think so. Anything can take over HR, right? If that would have been the case in 1980s, HR was doing only what time office and administration. Uh, in last 40 years, we have really evolved to what an HR organization must be. We have COEs, shared services, we have HR partners, and we will continue to evolve because the business is also evolving, right? That would be my thoughts as far as use of technology is concerned.
While we speak about technology, uh, you also mentioned that HR cannot be kept away because HR has a very important place in organizations today. It's majorly because the talent is a full package. It's a human being, and we consider it as not only the knowledge, capability, and the skills. It's a complete package, and that's why the importance of human resource management is very high today. So, with the advent of all this technology, do you think the candidate experience is the critical thing in today's talent acquisition market? Uh, how do you see a candidate net promoter score impacting the way we hire?
It's a brilliant question, must tell you, because HR is all about how employees or employees experience us, experiences the organization. Similarly, candidate feedback is very important because that is a key contributor to the overall employer branding per se. Uh, a digital cannot replace human at the end of it. What the candidate requires largely, if you put yourself as a candidate, is response from time to time, right? If the technology can help us with a response, great, right? But we cannot lose the human touch as far as candidate experience is concerned. It is going to get better, right? For example, a very quick reflection of last year, a candidate had to worry to travel from location A to location B for an interview, know, make all the administrative arrangements, reach there, talk to individual. There would always be that pressure that the interview has to end on time because the person has to catch another flight to go back. All these, technology has taken away. I'm sorry, I'm actually speaking very, giving a very simple example of a big shift of technology, right? Today, there are softwares which can actually record interviews and the panel can look at it later on, right? These are all for the interviews where the panel need not interact. There are we are using technology to connect with people. No need to travel. No need to move out of a zone. Move out of your comfort zone. So obviously, a candidate today has more opportunities as compared to what it was uh, in the past. So definitely, that's a big up as far as uh, candidate experience is concerned, and this is going to improve, no doubt about it. What shouldn't happen, however, based on technology, we lose the human touch completely, right? Uh, I personally believe that a call back to a candidate, informing the candidate that these are the reasons you have not been considered, versus an email, that will the call will still carry a lot more value than a simple email. So that would be my views on this.
So in that context, what would be your advice to the organizations or HR leaders who are on the way to implement these HR techs, HR technologies in their organizations? A couple of must-dos and some watch-outs you can point out.
Right. So let me, Rajiv, tell you what I do and what I would do. And if my colleagues at other places would like to pick up something from there, they can feel free to do. I still believe I'm not in that advisory phase to people. Uh, so, couple of things which I would definitely do. Processes which are transactional in nature, I will digitize them ruthlessly. Right, they have to be digitized because time of my employees is precious. They should invest more in interactions and in core jobs rather than spending time on the system. So my tech should do the basics. That's part one of it. Part two, if I have to, where the work starts, it's the first filtering process, right? If there is tech, there is AI which can filter out the right candidates for me. It again reduces the time within the system, right? That my recruiter has to spend or my line manager has to spend on candidates. That obviously, what I need to do very clearly is to make people in the system who are going to use that technology understand what the system's inputs are and what are the outputs of the system. Now, at the end of it, any system you can implement, but it is as good as people using it, right? Uh, a system may conduct my culture assessments, a system may conduct my behavioral assessment, and it will generate and tell you, these are the 7 8 questions that you should ask. But if you end up asking something else altogether, you are defeating the basic purpose of the system that we have brought in. So that's the third area where you need to look at. And before you keep on changing, many people, what they do, they keep on changing every 6 months. Before you change, at least run the show once, right? At least people will tell you any change requires 2 to 3 years to stabilize. Obviously, in this hyper tech world, we cannot wait for 3 years. At least look at one cycle. So these are 3 4 things that I would definitely do. And if someone wants to do all the four, great. One, fine with it.
So Sumit, as a person who learns continuously, who learns every moment, who learns with the flow, with the right approach, and be in the limelight of learning. What is that one skill you would want to learn, want to pick up into 2021?
Look, overarching fact would be, how technology is going to help HR being more effective. That's an area that has been my interest for some time. In fact, my doctoral is actually focused on that, where I'm trying to identify factors which affect adoption of technology in human resources. An area which I definitely want to do a bit of deep dive this year would be around people analytics. There has been a lot of talks around it. People do talk, but I haven't yet seen anything which is very impactful. Business analytics, I agree, there is a lot which is there. Businesses have taken a lot of decisions on that, but people analytics, I'm yet to see any predictive analytics, anywhere. So that's an area I would like to do deep dive this year.
Sumit, do you think today's HR is actually living up to its expectation? Uh, the HR partners or the corporate HR leaders or uh, whomsoever is in the HR line. Do you think that the HR is living up to its expectation? What are the possible changes you would want to see in those HR techs or HR managers, to be precise?
The first question is who sets the expectations, right? Uh, I have found ourselves, to we put ourselves under unnecessary expectations at times, right? Uh, Whatever we are trying to do, let's understand and first set up a realistic expectations from ourselves. We take too much on our plate. We make a lot of effort to please others as a function, right? All that is not required to me, right? HR is as much a business function as any front end business function is. Because at the end of it, you can prepare tons of strategy. If you don't get the right people and if you don't get the right processes, nothing is going to be achieved, right? So I typically do not like that idea where people keep on saying HR, it's time, HR has a seat on the table, etc., etc. No, boss, it's very simple. If the function is required because you need to have people to run the business. So wherever in an organization people are its asset, HR would be important. So first we need to give up on that thought process. That we need to please others. There are certain objectives which have been set up very clearly, which is in line with the business strategy, short term, long term. The way business do their forecasting, rolling forecast. Does HR have a rolling forecast of their own? Right. We have a very set mindset, set agenda that okay, we are going to implement ABC and we just go after it. Fact is, business realities are changing every 3 months. Are you fun, nimble enough to change your own strategies, HR strategies? That okay, I think this is may not be required the way I had projected 3 months back. That okay, I'll do it in 2 years. It may not happen. So can you shift? That's the first part. Second part is any HR process takes typically 1 to 2 cycles to stabilize. Right? It won't give you results within 3 months, but the business expects you to do so. Set up a realistic expectation that it will take 2 cycles, but these are the results that will come up in 3, 6, 9 months. Third part, I have seen HR leaders at times, just pick up a HR leader and look at their number ones and number twos. 60 to 70% you will see there is a significant gap between number ones, number twos, and the HR leader. Why can't you get talent who are better than yourself? They will deliver the goods. Those HR leaders, those HR functions would be successful where you not only have a good leader, but you have good number ones, number twos. And that is what HR needs to develop very, very clearly. And that's where one will deliver on expectations. An individual cannot manage these aspects. Obviously, the leader who is there in the function will have to represent the function and manage the politics around it. Right? Not very line managers like people processes to run the way ideally they are designed. And that's what the role of the leader would be. Then the execution would be with someone else. So in a nutshell, what needs to be done very clearly is to have a good team, have good focus, and keep on reviewing the work that you are doing yourself, whether it is contributing. The element is very simple. If some project that we have undertaken as HR is not making sense anymore, drop it. There is no reason to fall in love. As HR, you are not supposed to fall in love with people, right? You are supposed to be in love with the organizational goals its strategy and ensure that people are aligned to it. Build a culture around it. To me, HR is anchor of leadership and culture of the organization, and one should build processes around it so that one can support.
Speaking about leaders, I would want to listen from you. Who is the person whom you look up to in HR as a role model, and what is that one skill you would like to master from this person?
Well, actually, one aspect which I can tell you, Rajit, that since I have started my career journey, I have had the privilege of working with some of the best leaders. So I think in terms of HR, the one leader who has always stood out for me has been Praveer Shah. He was the group HR head for Reliance when I first got in person exposed to him. One thing I really learned from his was that if you make a commitment, you have to fulfill it, right? And I remember his first meeting, a group HR head of Reliance giving me a time to meet him. He gave me 30 minutes to meet, but the meeting continued for 3.5 hours, right? And one, I was extremely happy and I was very relaxed. I was very tense about how the career will move, what will happen in near future, what is the future, what does the future hold. He allowed me to speak my heart out, and then he spoke about what I should do, I shouldn't. As a leader, he could have actually told someone else to speak to me, but he spent that time. So spending time with talent is another feature. Incidentally, he gave my first HR leadership role to me in Zipla, and I'm glad that I worked with him and I saw a leader standing up front. To stand as an HR leader in front of business managers, in front of the promoters, and say what no one has spoken in the past, and which is matter of fact, which is the truth, uh, is significant. And that's where one of the HR leaders who has the spine, I believe, very clearly in terms of what he does. All the talks of have people who have better work better than you, all the talks of giving talent the better opportunity, all the talks of developing a very good working relationship, I've seen it in action with him. So I do owe last a lot of my success of last 16 months to him, because I have definitely picked up his mannerism, including what I'm wearing today. So that's what I will share.
So, friends, that was Sumit Neogi, HR Director of Lubrizol Corporation, South Asia and Middle East. I'm extremely happy that this session I could complete with a lot of learnings personally I had. This is one such a session we would always cherish, because I always connect with Sumit as a friend, as a old colleague, as a person whom I can always go to for help, for directions, for suggestions, and he has never told me no. So thank you, Sumit, for being there, being as a good HR leader, a friend, and a good support. Thank you for joining our show. I'm sure that I'm sure our viewers will definitely appreciate this along with me. Thank you so much for being in our show.
Thank you, Ranjit, and wish you a great 2021. And thanks again for asking the questions, which means, and I'm sure it makes sense to a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and wishing you everyone happy 2021.